For centuries, the most influential book in human history harbored a terrifying vulnerability. A massive 1,000-year black hole existed between the events it describes and the oldest physical copy we possessed. Critics argued it was entirely fabricated. Believers had to rely on blind faith. But what if the truth was not a matter of theology, but rather cold, hard archaeological data? What if the entire history of the Old Testament could be decoded using 4 undeniable physical artifacts? The Hebrew Bible did not suddenly fall from the sky as a fully bound volume. Its creation is one of the most complex historical and archaeological puzzles of all time. Stripping away the religious narratives reveals a fascinating trail of evidence. In this documentary, we will completely dismantle the timeline of the Old Testament. If you stay until the end, you will discover the 3 greatest historical secrets hidden beneath the ancient texts. First, we will uncover the 1,000-year manuscript gap that threatened to destroy biblical credibility. Next, we will examine a solid granite slab from 1208 BC that provides the absolute earliest blueprint of an ancient people. Finally, we will decode the 4 hidden source texts that prove how the book was assembled. But the most shocking revelation is saved for last. Until the mid-20th century, scholars faced a monumental crisis. The oldest complete Hebrew manuscript in existence, the Leningrad Codex, dated back to the year 1008 AD. This meant a millennium separated the original writers from the copies we read today. Did centuries of human transcription alter or censor the original message? In 1947, Bedouin shepherds stumbled upon the ultimate material proof inside the Qumran caves, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Dating from the 3rd century BC, these ancient fragments included the Great Isaiah Scroll. When scientists compared this scroll to texts copied 1,000 years later, the results were staggering. They discovered a 95% word-for-word accuracy rate, proving the extreme rigor of ancient scribal preservation. But while the text survived, when did its people actually appear in history? The Old Testament recounts epic ancient migrations and grand kingdoms, but historians require physical evidence outside the biblical text. When does the entity of Israel first step onto the documented world stage of human history? The answer lies carved into a 10-foot-tall black granite monument known as the Merneptah stele. Erected in 1208 BC by an Egyptian pharaoh boasting of military victories in Canaan, the hieroglyphs declare, "Israel is wasted, its seed is not." Crucially, the grammatical marker used signifies a nomadic people, not a settled city-state. This artifact represents the absolute oldest physical evidence of their existence in the archaeological record, laying the historical groundwork for the nation. Yet, if the people existed then, who exactly was writing their history down? To the untrained eye, the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah, appear as a continuous narrative written by Moses. However, linguistic data reveals a deeper secret. Scholars noticed conflicting names for God, repetitive plot lines, and shifting vocabulary. Through extremely rigorous textual analysis, researchers established the documentary hypothesis. The data proves the Old Testament was not penned by one single hand. Instead, it is a composite matrix stitched together from 4 distinct source documents labeled J, E, D, and P. Written by different factions between the 10th and 5th centuries BC, these 4 strands were woven together, largely accelerated by the trauma of the Babylonian exile to preserve a dying culture's identity. But how did this localized text become truly global? Before the Old Testament could become the bedrock of Western civilization, it had to break out of its localized and isolated geographic shell. The ultimate revelation lies in the number 72.
In the 3rd century BC, King Ptolemy II commissioned a massive historic translation project in Alexandria. 72 Jewish scholars translated the Hebrew scriptures into Greek, creating the Septuagint. This translation serves as a vital physical snapshot. It definitively proves that by 250 BC, the core books were finalized, revered, and permanently frozen in time, launching them into the vast Greco-Roman world. The complete history of the Old Testament is not just a simple tale of faith, but rather a stunning triumph of material preservation. From the dark Dead Sea caves to towering Egyptian granite, the physical evidence confirms an extraordinary ancient journey. Hit that subscribe button right now so you will never miss our next full historical deep dive into these epic, completely fascinating ancient archaeological mysteries.